welcome back to my channel. So a while ago I did a video on the evolution of my reading trackers and reading tracking, and I thought it might be interesting to make kind of a series out of that. So I will have a couple of different videos over time where I'll show you the evolution of some aspect of my bullet journal. I know that other people have probably done similar things on their channels, but I thought it might be interesting for those of you who have followed me for a while to see side by side how my own personal style has evolved. So let's go ahead. In this video, I wanted to show you how my monthly log has evolved. So you might know that basically ever since the beginning, I have used a calendar format because the monthly log in a list style just doesn't really work with my brain. However, that's not to say that my calendar format has not changed. So let's take a look back at my first bullet journal. So here we are. I've bookmarked my pages, so hopefully I can find them more easily. So this was my first ever monthly log. And at the very beginning, when I first started, I got a lot of inspiration from Boho. At the time, she was one of the main people on YouTube who was really going through and explaining things and showing sort of the more creative side of bullet journaling. And so after I had watched all of the bullet journal videos by Ryder, Carroll, and I saw all of the different aspects of the system, I took inspiration from Boho because, like I said, the month log style of a calendar, or the log style of a monthly, just really didn't work with my brain. I need to be able to see it laid out visually like this. So I had, for my first monthly, I did do almost, what's that, like 1.5 pages basically. And I had a task bar and a goal bar at the bottom. And one of the things that I immediately realized basically after April, was that the goals at the bottom were not as useful for me as having a look at what was coming up. So I very quickly realized that tasks and the next month was going to be much more helpful for me to be able to see. So you'll see that this basically stayed the same. I still straddled basically 1.5 pages. And I know some people will actually close off their calendar over here and start over here so they don't have to write over the spine. And that never really bothered me. I liked having the cohesive look of it. That was all really. And you'll notice sometimes I would do little doodles and whatnot, and that slowly kind of stopped. Things changed. So June, basically the exact same. I started experimenting with lettering and cursive a little bit more. You'll see I totally messed up when I was drawing my boxes, and I just drew like a solid end here when I should have had a cutout. So I just did a doodle to cover that up. July, so bigger changes in July. I started labeling the weeks on the side, and this is something that I still do. I find it very helpful, especially in terms of my reading tracker, because I track which week I read a book in, and also that's how I label my weeklies now. So this was something that I started fairly soon into my journey, and something that I've kept. Then again, tasks, August, and I started doing the August mini calendar. So I would do the mini calendar for the upcoming month. And I found this really helpful when I was going through and writing down dates. I could just kind of quickly confirm the dates on here, and it was fine. Which you'll know that I have somewhere up here. I always do the year at a glance. And this was just, so I didn't always have to flip up here. I would just have this right on my actual monthly. So that was my first bullet journal. In the second bullet journal, things stayed pretty much the same for a while. So calendar, tasks, the upcoming month mini calendar. You can see that I started playing around more with brush lettering and hand lettering and all of that. September. So really the only thing I changed was how I wrote in the month and the year essentially, and maybe how I did the lettering for the tasks and the upcoming month. But really, this worked very well for me for a long time. You'll see up through October. I have to say October is probably one of my favorite months, and it has everything to do with the fact that I have cobwebs all over the top. I absolutely love how that came out. But yeah, so October and November is where we get big changes, and you might recognize sort of the start of my current monthly log. So this was the first month that I decided I only needed one page because I wasn't utilizing all of the space on my monthly, and so there was no reason really for me to have a full spread with the calendar. So I condensed it down to one page. I also stopped drawing straight lines and just did like these little brackets. So it's either a corner bracket or a cross. And the reason why was because I no longer wanted to use a ruler when I was drawing my calendar. That's honestly the main reason why I changed to this system. I was just kind of over having to always use a ruler to draw things out. So otherwise, it has basically stayed the same. I just condensed everything onto one page. So I've got my calendar up here. I still have labeled the weeks. And then down at the bottom, I have tasks, the upcoming month, so December, and all of the events and tasks for the upcoming month. So I didn't actually label it December because I already had it on the calendar here. So this was the first really big change that I made, and you'll see that in December, let's see, where's my December? Oops, there we go. So you'll see in December that I basically kept it the same. So I have my mini calendar for the upcoming month, my December calendar, tasks, and for January. So you'll notice that the mini calendar changes, and that honestly has to do with where I have enough space, depending on how the actual calendar falls, where I have enough space to actually draw it. That's really the only reason. So then in January, same setup once again. You'll notice I started condensing how I labeled my week. So instead of actually having WK for week, I just did W and then the number so that I had less to write basically. And I also stopped always having the Monday through Sunday up at the top because I just didn't really need it. I know I'm a Monday start, Sunday finish. I don't really need to have it labeled. So it was just kind of ways for me to save a little bit more time when I was doing my monthly setup basically. February. So the style changed a bit. This is when I started doing the light grade bars with everything on the right. So I did even do that for my monthly level. This was, I love the sage of this month. It's one of my favorites. March, we're deep into the washi craze at this point. So this was, everything was in mint, and it is kind of hard to see on camera, but I did like how subtle it was. I thought it looked really nice. And at this point, I also stopped color coding my events. So I was using a work and university bullet journal, and I was color coding everything in there. And I finally realized that I didn't need it to be color coded in here. I just needed to know what I was doing. So I stopped color coding and everything is just in gray. And it was just honestly so much easier because I didn't have to remember to pull out a special pen to write something in. It was just done. So that was probably the biggest change I made in March. And now we are up to my current bullet journal. So the first thing you'll notice is no washi. I stopped using washi in this bullet journal, and it has saved my spine, which is really good because I think this journal is going to last me at least 5 months, and I need all the help I can get because he is going to be very, very battered by the time I'm done. But April went pretty much the same. So no washi. I did actually turn my calendar on its side so that I could fit it in this like smaller space up here. But otherwise I have tasks and the upcoming month. Still no color coding on here. May, I randomly labeled, oh, I remember why. I left a space and the entire first week was just a straight line. There was no like weird dips or anything. So I just did Monday through Sunday on there for no good reason really. Everything else though is the same as usual. You'll notice that I kind of find a way that a method I like and I stick with it. June. So June, I decided that I didn't really need that mini monthly calendar for the upcoming month because honestly, I probably hadn't needed it for a while. I just liked the look of it, but I realized that it was getting very difficult at times to figure out a place to fit it and still have room for my tasks and my upcoming month tasks. So I dropped it. And honestly, I don't really miss it. I have the year at a glance up at the front of my bujo as always, so it's not really a big deal. And then you'll see we are up to July and same thing as usual. So my calendars have changed a lot. The only thing that really hasn't changed is that I still always use a calendar. I just find that for me personally, having this calendar set up, just it really helps. But one thing that I did notice as I got more experienced and more comfortable with what I was looking for was that space. I just didn't need as much space in order to have it still be functional for me. But everything else basically has stayed the same. Once, I think it was in May that I started doing the next month. Once I did that, those have been my two main categories since then, and that it really works for me. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little evolution video. I want to do an evolution of my weekly spreads, and I'm not sure what else yet at this point. If you guys have any ideas, suggestions, what have you, feel free to leave them down in the comment section. And if you like this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and or subscribing to my channel. I do try and post twice a week, especially in the summer, so on Thursdays and on Sundays. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!